With State Department depleted, Trump admin considers outside help on North Korea.
Not long ago, he said his country could wipe the U.S. off the face of the earth. Tonight, a dramatic turnaround for Kim Jong-un. After speaking with top South Korean intelligence officials, meetings attended by Kim's wife and his trusted younger sister, the dictator says his regime is willing to talk to the U.S. about giving up its nuclear weapons. He's also agreed to stop conducting nuclear and missile tests while his government negotiates with South Korea, including a just-planned summit next month. That's all according to South Korea's National Security Chief Chung Eui-yong, who just returned from his meetings with Kim. President Trump is cautiously optimistic.
And the statements coming out of South Korea and North Korea have been very positive. That would be a great thing for the world. Great thing for the world. So we'll see how it all comes about.
One of America's top intelligence officials is skeptical of Kim's promise.
Maybe this is a breakthrough. I seriously doubt it, but like I said, hope springs eternal.
Robert Gallucci understands that doubt. Gallucci was the lead American negotiator in 1994 when North Korea agreed to freeze its plutonium weapons program to eliminate its nuclear facilities in exchange for aid, for light water reactors, and a normalization of diplomatic relations.
We made a deal with the North, and they gave up the program. They then pursued secretly a program using highly enriched uranium with the Pakistanis.
At the time, Gallucci says, the North Koreans' excuse for cheating was that the U.S. was not moving fast enough to hold up its end of the deal.
What would you tell the lead U.S. negotiator in these talks, based on your experience, how to deal with the North Koreans?
The first thing is be clear about our objectives, what we really need to get. We should be clear as we can be about what we think the North Koreans are really after. Do not assume anything about compliance. Do not assume anything like trust is there. Look to monitor the deal.
And, Gallucci says, even a deal the North Koreans might cheat on could still be good for U.S. national security. Another promise from Kim Jong-un that observers are watching closely tonight, he says he'll work with the South Koreans toward reunifying the Korean peninsula. What does that mean to Kim?
Kicking the U.S. forces off the Korean.
Washington CNN. The Trump administration is considering appointing an outside expert as a special envoy to deal with the North Koreans alongside Secretary of State Rex Tillerson if talks advance to a serious stage, according to an administration official. There is an ongoing debate in the Trump administration as to North Korea's intentions in wanting to talk and whether such talks would lead to serious steps toward denuclearization, with two distinct camps pushing their views to the president. Although officials caution no decisions have been made, the consideration of an outside expert underscores the administration's lack of depth on what is arguably the world's most pressing foreign policy challenge. The State Department's roster of senior diplomats dealing with and experienced on North Korea is seriously depleted. The top diplomat dealing with North Korea, Joseph Yoon, is departing his post this week, and the U.S. has been without a permanent ambassador to Seoul since Trump took office. The State Department's Assistant Secretary for East Asia, in place in an acting capacity, still hasn't been confirmed. Though Susan Thornton has become one of Tillerson's most trusted aides, her broad Asia portfolio could necessitate a point person who deals just with North Korea, one official said. The vacancy of the key ambassadorship in Seoul, coupled with the loss of a veteran envoy in Yoon, has revived concerns that the U.S. lacks diplomatic experience, the notion that State Department spokeswoman Heather Nauert has dismissed. The State Department has 75,000 people that work for us around the world, she said February 27. To imply that Ambassador Yoon is the only one who's capable of handling North Korea would simply be wrong. We have a deep bench of very experienced people. Now, officials say, the administration is considering a search outside the department for the brain power and experience to maneuver one of the world's trickiest and most threatening foreign policy problems. Officials said the outside expert would be called upon to handle technical negotiations before Tillerson would step in to be at the table toward the end of any negotiation. Officials said there's no sense yet on who might be tapped to fill a role. The choice of outside expert could indicate which way the administration is leaning in its stance on Pyongyang. There have been conflicting signals. As to camps within the administration have pushed for starkly different approaches. Tillerson, along with Secretary of Defense James Mattis, has pushed for an approach exerting maximum economic pressure and diplomatic isolation on North Korea. The aim of the squeeze is to force Pyongyang to the negotiating table. On Wednesday, Mattis said he is cautiously optimistic, but there has been optimism before when asked about the latest developments. Other voices in the White House, including National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, have spoken openly about the need to consider a preemptive military strike against North Korea, should it threaten the U.S. or continue to develop its nuclear weapons and missile capabilities. One indication of where President Donald Trump might be leaning are reports that he met Wednesday with John Bolton, the hawkish Bush administration ambassador to the UN, who argues that a preemptive strike on North Korea would not only be legal but also effective at curbing the threat. The two spent a major part of their time discussing North Korea, according to an administration official familiar with the meeting. One camp of officials within the administration would likely be aligned with Bolton. This group believes that North Korea is not serious about its outreach and is just playing for time to continue its nuclear development, as it repeatedly has in the past under prior U.S. administrations. One senior administration official compared Pyongyang's approach to the iconic Lucy and the football running gag from the Charlie Brown cartoon, in which the Lucy character always whisks away the football just as Charlie Brown thinks he's about to land a kick. While in the past it was possible to test the North Koreans and let the process play out, the official said, the U.S. and its allies are now running out of time as North Korea inches closer to mastering a deliverable nuclear weapon. After a November ballistic missile test, Mattis said that Pyongyang already demonstrated the ability to hit everywhere in the world. The question is whether it has miniaturized a nuclear warhead and mastered the missile's re-entry phase. North Korea has asked for a freeze for freeze, meaning the freeze in nuclear and missile testing in exchange for a freeze in joint military exercises between the U.S. and South Korea, but the group of officials who take a hardline approach say that is a non-starter. They argue that there can be no meaningful negotiations until North Korea takes some initial demonstrable steps toward denuclearization. That doesn't preclude talks in the interim, they say, as Tillerson has made a distinction between talks and formal negotiations. On Wednesday, two defense officials told CNN that the U.S. has scheduled the annual joint military exercise with South Korea, known as Full Eagle, for March 31st. The Full Eagle exercise, which was originally scheduled to take place during the Winter Olympics, involves thousands of U.S. and South Korean troops and is the largest bilateral exercise involving those forces. The Pentagon officially declined to comment on the scheduling of Full Eagle. In contrast to the Hawks, another group of administration officials see North Korea's overture as a good sign, because it will reduce tensions and give diplomacy more time to work. Moreover, they point out that North Korea has put denuclearization on the table, which is a shift from the position Pyongyang has previously held. One senior administration official called it a quite important turn that hasn't come at a large cost to the U.S. Another positive sign is a North-South summit planned for next month between South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Another senior official called this a very significant move that suggests South Korea is inclined to see how far it can go in improving relations. This official did acknowledge, however, that this détente does leave the U.S. on the margins. CNN's Zachary Cohen, Brian Brown and Caitlin Collins contributed to this report.